Hi friends! Welcome to episode 31 of the Quirky Monday Craftcast. My name is Kalisha and you can find me anywhere online as Nadira Tani. Thank you so much for coming to spend a little more time with me today. Today is Tuesday, March 20th, and I am coming to you from my home in Central Florida, where we are currently in between thunderstorms. So if the setting changes and I suddenly am inside, you know that the heavens burst forth and I didn't want to get everything soaking wet. First order of business, I would like to say a sincere apology for the throat scratching that I missed editing out of last week. Yeah, allergies were trying to kill me, and I missed a section of me just sitting here and scratching my throat. And when I realized that, I was like, oh my gosh, I should take down the video, edit it, and put it back up. But then I was just like, it's already been seen by like 80 people, so we're just gonna go with it. There will be no throat scratching in this episode. So, on today's agenda, I do have some crochet, some knitting. I have a new little crafty thing that I tried out this week. So yeah, we'll talk about that. But first, let's do finished objects. The first finished object was not even a work in progress last episode. It was actually on my maker plans. And what I wanted to do was restring this necklace that my best friend gave me. So here it is. It actually only took me 2 days to fix, which was a whole lot faster than I thought it was gonna be. Like once I got like the pattern of the beading, it zoomed. Plus my initial plan was to rebead it using like a needle with the beading thread, but one of my like the new craft that I tried this week came with a super long needle threader. So I used that to do the beading, which was so much easier than using the needle. So here is the necklace. So that's how it looks. I'll hold it up so you can see. Is this the side? Oh, okay. So this is the side I started on. And you can see that it gets a little wonky. That's how it's supposed to sit, right? And I know that this is the side I started on because the crisscross bits, it's supposed to be, I had done them some kind of funny. Oh, right. So I did this first one right, where in the middle, like you have, can I show it that way? Yeah, that makes more sense. So you have one strand here, and then you have 2 strands crossing in the middle, and then you have the 4th strand. The middle crossing strands are supposed to be the 2 different colors, but somehow I changed it where I had the same colors inside. You can see that? Well, you can really see it there, but it's supposed to go like that. And then I realized my mistake, so then I fixed it on this side. Now, not one of my favorite things, my favorite thing about this necklace rehab is actually this section. So this is the section where with the original necklace, the strand had broken. So each one of these colorful bead sections is 15 beads, and this particular one lost 10 beads. So I had originally gone to Joann's and Michael's looking for like the same color bead to fix it, but I couldn't find any. And then I remembered reading about the Japanese Art of Kansui, where basically in a nutshell, say you have a broken pot, or like a piece of broken pottery or dishware, whatever like that. So instead of fixing it so that you can't see like the cracks and everything, in kintsugi they fix it, but the cracks are filled in with gold. So the brokenness of the object is used to make it more beautiful. And so that's what I decided to do. Instead of trying to match the beads, I decided to fill in all the lost beads with gold. And I have a lost bead right there and one right there. I think that's it. Yeah. So this little bit just makes it like all the more special. So yeah, I am super proud of myself for fixing this piece. I wish I knew what I did right here. Like, why does it keep twisting like that? But ta-da! I'm so happy with it. And I also had to do like a whole lot of cleaning on this. I'll see if I can put like a before and after picture of like the charm, actually of like the whole thing, because it was kind of like grody. I don't even know if that's really a word, but it was grubby and gross. It was grody. So yeah, so that's my first finished object. It really kind of got me back into wanting to get back into beading. Like, I used to make necklaces and waist beads and earrings and stuff like that. When I was like, I think it was my senior year in college, I started making those, but I have since gotten out of it. And this kind of reminded me of how calming and relaxing it is to just string the beads onto the, on the string, and choosing the colors, and how meditative it is. So who knows, there might be some bead work coming up in Quirky Monday Crafty Land. Who knows? So that's my first finished object. The next finished object, I'm calling it finished because I don't think this is a craft that's going to stick around. So this is the other craft that I was mentioning. I bought this set from Walmart. I taught myself to needle punch, and I was like, yes, I do want to teach myself to needle punch. This looks like a great idea. So along with that, I bought some Aida fabric. Just plain simple. Is that a mosquito? All right, mosquitoes. Don't be coming for me, please. Okay. So, bought the fabric, bought the kit. I already had, like, embroidery thread out the wazoo. So, I was like, I'm going to try this. So, the first attempt was a complete fail. Didn't work at all. So, I was using I tried like regular fabric, and then I tried burlap, and the regular fabric was too dense, the burlap was too, like, the weave was too spread apart. So then I had to go buy the Aida, because I wanted to use whatever I had in my stash. I just didn't have anything that was usable. So I bought the Aida fabric, and it actually worked out, and I made this. Ta-da! It's an R for my last name. And that's the back. So this side I was like inserting the punch every other like hole. And then this side I was like, oh, it's better if I go in every single hole. So that's why it looks different like that. But you can't tell on the front, for real. And it feels like carpet. It's actually kind of nice to like rub like that, but yeah. So the reasons why I don't think that this is going to stick, or that I'm going to actually try doing this anymore, is because it really caused my hand to get really crampy, like right in here, like when I was pushing the punch in, and you have to be very controlled when you pull the punch out, because you're only like, because it's putting loops down. If you pull it too high, you're just going to undo everything you did. So you have to punch it in and then pull it out just enough so that the tip of the punch comes out of the fabric, and then go into the next one. So you end up, or at least I ended up being very tense while doing it, and it was just not fun. So I tried it. I taught myself to needle punch. I have a finished project. Maybe I'll make like a bag out of this so that it's a thing. But yeah, this is gonna go into the like crafty garage. We'll just put it back there. Maybe one day I'll try needle punching again. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, so that's my other finished object. I'm calling it finished because I'm not doing anything else on it. Done. I'm so proud of this, y'all. So yeah, let's move on to works in progress. And I have a couple. What do I want to talk about first? What's first on my notes? All right, let's go like this. Let's just pull whatever's in the bag first. First, we have brought back the new jelly bean socks. And I got past the heel. Wow, that looks like day glow. Got past the heel. So we've got 40 rows on the leg, short row wrap and turn heel. I'm working on the foot. That's it. This is the Jelly Beans colorway by Red Heart and Soul. Nothing special to say here. I'm doing absolutely nothing special on these socks. It's just straight up vanilla. The end. Oh, the heel color is Sour Apple, Nitpicks, Stroll, Sour Apple. And it's really cool. I like this green. I might have to get some more. Do they even have this anymore on their site? I don't know. Probably not, because whenever I like something, it's suddenly gone. The next work in progress. So, last week I finished my Braiding Party Hat. Oh my word. Oh, look what just happened. Okay. Last week I finished my Braiding Party Hat, and that was it was like a close-fitting beanie style cabled hat for my mom. And I really liked the pattern. Well, of course I really liked the pattern, but I liked it a lot, and I wanted one for me. However, I tried on the one that I made for my mom, and I looked like a mushroom. Meaning, like, all of it was just like this. Mushroom. So because of how big my hair is, I can't wear flat, like close-fitting hats unless I have my hair pressed straight. Then they fit. So I said, okay, let me see if I can modify my pattern to to widen the body so that I can have like a slouchy beanie tam style hat, which fits my hair a lot better. So I did a crap ton of math, and it was a lot. Like, but I was finally successful in figuring out how much I wanted to increase, and then how often I needed to do the increases to make them even, which I was, pat yourself on the back, Kalisha, because that was awesome. So I have, this is the second Braiding Party Hat, but this one is modified to be one whole pattern repeat. Is it one? No, 2 whole pattern repeats wider. So it'll have considerably more space. The brim is the same, so that's going to fit closer to my my head. and then I'll be able to pull it back, because I like wearing hats where I can pull them back and just show a little bit of my hair, and then all of the fun will be encased in the slouchiness of the hat. So super excited about it. I have done one whole cable repeat of the braids, and I'm just gonna be trucking along. So that's how it's looking so far. It's really scrunched up on the needles, which they are one of my stash acquisitions as well, as is the yarn. So this is Joy DK Loops and Threads. Is it Loops and Threads? Am I lying? Am I telling untruths? It is Loops and Threads. Loops and Threads Joy DK, and this is the Cloud colorway. This is a new product at Michael's. So they finally have a DK that's not specifically baby yarn, which super cool. It's like $4.50 for, I want to say this is 100 grams. Am I lying again? No, we're good. 100 grams. 100 grams, 250 meters, 273 yards. And I really like it. I found that I tend to like DK weight yarns, which is a little bit problematic because America doesn't really get down with too many DK weight yarns. So yeah, so when they came out with this, I was like, oh my gosh. I actually first saw this, Melody of the Melody Crochet podcast. She did a review on this, and I was like, oh my gosh, let me run to Michael's and see if they have it. So I looked on the website, and the website said they had it, but it was not in the store. And then, you know, I figured out that I was just the overzealous crafter who got there the day before they put it on the shelves. So all of the little signs were there where it was gonna go, but they just hadn't shelved it yet. So I was a little bit overzealous. It's okay. So I went back the next day and I got this. So fingers crossed, this hat will take one ball. I figure that this is going to be a good test of the pattern, because the first braiding party hat I made holding fingering weight double, and this one I'm just using one strand of DK weight, although the numbers are completely different because it is a much bigger hat, but we'll see how it goes. Does this have a dye lot? Of course it does. Did you guys just hear that rooster? Mr. Rooster, you are mad late. The sun has come up long time. Anywho, so working on the hat, I'm really excited about it. I'm loving it. Yeah. What else can I tell you about this? Nothing really, that's about it. The needles I had mentioned are a stash acquisition. I was originally knitting this on my 4mm Chaogu. They're red lace. They might be 40-inch circulars. I think they're 40. So I was doing it magic loop, and that was kind of getting on my nerves. So I went to my local yarn shop, Knit in Longwood, and I got a set of 16-inch circulars in the 4mm. So I'm slowly building up my collection of Chaogu needles. Eventually I'm gonna be like, I should have just saved up for the interchangeable set and called it a day, but whatevs. So we've got that. That's done. I think that's all of the notes or things I wanted to mention about this. The yarn is 100% acrylic, which I have mentioned many times before, is one of the easiest yarns to use for natural hair because it will not dry out your hair. And then this one is really, it's a really smooth yarn, so it's not gonna like rough up my strands like this. I want to say this was Red Heart Super Saver, so it's kind of rough. So I do notice my hair is frizzier when I wear like hats like this out of the Red Heart, but this one being a much smoother and rounder yarn, I'm expecting it to treat my hair a little bit kinder than this one. But super excited about that. That's it. Braiding Party Hat done. The next work in progress that I have is also a hat. I seem to have gone hat crazy. So this is how much I have on my C4th hat. It's just the, what do you call this? It's just the brim. So I had to rip out, did I have to rip this out twice? It was something ridiculous like that. But I finally got it, all of my ribbing. It looks pretty cool. This is the succulent fibers in the strawberry thrift colorway. It is a BFL silk mix, I think. I don't have the label with me, but I believe it's a BFL silk blend. And hopefully I have enough for this hat. So yeah, because this one is a blend of Blueface Leicester, I am going to put a lining in it because wool, the makeup of the wool strands, like the fibers, is very similar to the makeup of like natural Afro texture hair. So they will kind of like have a party together and yeah, so I don't really want that to happen, so I'm gonna put a lining in it. I'll probably just get like a satin sleep on it, stick it in there, sew it, good to go, most likely. But I did all of this last night, super proud of myself. This one is also on 4mm 16-inch circulars. Now these are clover, and I bought these at Joann's before I bought the Chow Gu ones because I was like, oh, you know, I'll just get the clover ones, it'll be fine. But this bamboo does not like acrylic, and it was very frustrating to try to knit with those. Like, you know how people talk about like, oh, the yarn and the needles was just a match made in heaven or whatever it is. They were not having it. So I considered returning these, and I was like, you know what, please just keep them. And go figure, the bamboo likes natural fibers. So bamboo needles are a bit of a yarn snob. Good to know. So that's these. So yeah, that's one more work in progress down. So I've got 3 works in progress going right now, guys. I'm doing all the things. All the things. And my last work in progress, let me move this stuff because it's the big one, is, what is that? Buzz. It is my crochet cardigan. And guys, I think I'm gonna need some help. I need some advice, y'all. So this is my crochet cardigan. It is one that I am like designing as I go. Last week I had the body and 1 sleeve. This week there are strings everywhere. This week I have 2 sleeves and the beginnings of a front band. Now this is the part that I'm feeling some kind of way about. My original plan was to do a cable design on the front band. After much trial, research, ripping out, swatching, ripping out again, frustration, I've thrown out the idea of having a cabled front. It would be beautiful. I really think there's a way to do it, but I haven't been able to come up with a cable pattern that I like enough, or that works. So I need to practice designing cables before I can design the cables for a sweater front. So I'm not trashing that idea completely. I'm just backburnering it until I can work on my cable creating skills. So what I did one night, there was so much crocheting and frogging, it was making me sad. So I tried a ribbing, like front post, back post, crochet rib. I tried crocheting into the third loop. Well, no, I tried crocheting into the back loop only. Then I tried crocheting into the third loop. Then I tried just flat single crochets. And what I finally settled on was, I think it's the moth stitch. It's either moth stitch or linen stitch. I don't know if those are interchangeable. So it makes kind of a woven texture. Like that, kind of. Can you see that? So I decided to do that for the front. Is that the inside? No. So this is what, hello? This is what the front is looking like so far. I am going to make it considerably wider. So maybe like that wide, that much more wide, maybe. So because I did the fronts like this, I'm also thinking about ripping out the cuffs and doing the cuffs in this stitch as well so that it matches. Now, my concerns, and this is probably just aesthetically speaking, because this is made in double crochet, you have those spaces that are created when you do the turning chain on a double crochet row. I kind of don't like them, but I don't know. So I'm thinking I'm just gonna finish the fronts on both sides and then see how I feel. What do you think? Is it like obnoxious? Does it matter? Am I being stupid? Am I being extra? I probably am. But yeah. So that's the way the sweater is going so far. The sleeves fit nicely. Come on, hands. Come on, hands. There we go. The sleeves fit nicely. The sweater length is awesome. It comes, I want to say, just below my butt, which is like so comfy. The only thing it's missing are pockets. And I think I'm going to make pockets. Like little patch pockets in the contrast color. No. Maybe. We don't know. But that's what's happening right now. Do we like it? I like it. So yeah, this has been, I haven't worked on this in the last couple days because it was kind of making me sad with all of the ripping out that I had to do. And you know, like when you get an idea and you're just like, oh, this is what I want it to look like, and it's just not working out. So I know that I can come up with a cable pattern. I know I can do that. I have faith in myself. I guess I just need to, it's just going to be a slower process in learning that skill. But yeah, so that's that. If you're new and this is the first time you've seen this cardigan, the green yarn is Karen 1 pound from Joann's, and the contrast is, I want to say it's Aaron Flake, no, Aaron Fleck in Red Heart Super Saver. So with these, or with this, it's like, it's quite, what is the word? Rigid. But when you're working with one of the basic acrylics, they do tend to work up very stiff. But when you wash and dry them, they soften up a whole lot. And then you can even steam them and it will soften them up a bit more. The only thing that you really, really need to be careful with, if you ever do go to like steam block acrylic, you have to be very careful with how much you pull it, because wherever you pull it and steam it, it's staying there. That's it. That's all you get. There's no spring back. It's there. So let your decision be sure when you go to steam block acrylic, because there's no do-overs. So yeah, so that's this. There's yarn everywhere. We're gonna put it back in my giant bag, which this bag just gives me so much joy. Like, this thing is huge. Like, yeah. And I think that's all of my works in progress. Let's check the notes. Yes, that is all of my works in progress. Next up we have maker plans / stash positions, as is how I do. So, stash position / maker plan 1 is this beauty. This fabric, oh my gosh. I got this fabric on Etsy from a shop called House of Mamiwata, and she sells so many beautiful prints of Ankara fabric. Like, I have to go in there like, Jesus, hold the purse strings, because I just want to give her all my dollars. So this fabric I just recently got, and I'm going to be making a skirt for myself out of this. And I don't know if I'm going to make it T length or if I'm going to make it floor length. These decisions will be made later, but super excited about this. And I have 3 yards, so I can do either way. That's the only thing that's coming up on my maker plans. So the next bit is going to be a lot of yarn, y'all. So the next couple things that I want to show you are from a de-stash and a swap that I did. The de-stash was from Andrea, or Andrea? I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. But she contacted me on Ravelry saying that she was, you know, kind of getting rid of some yarn because she's moving and she would like to send some. So that's awesome. So I got 6 balls of this Bernat satin in the crimson colorway. It is 100% acrylic. Ooh, no dye lot. Thumbs up on that. So whenever I have the option of choosing just like a random yarn and I don't have a plan for it, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, if there's an option for red, I do tend to go towards the red because it's my mom's favorite color, and I'm like, when in doubt, make something for mommy. Hooray! So I have 6 balls of this. Maybe I'll make matching things for me and my mom. Can I be any more cheesy? She also sent this ball of mandala. I think it's the Warlock colorway. Yes, Warlock. And those, like, I want to say they're like jewel tones, but they're also kind of muted. Can you have muted jewel tones? If so, this is them. I really like that green, like right there. Actually, oh yes, yes, I like that. Lastly, in stash acquisitions, we have the birthday swap that I did with Melody, again, of Melody Crochet Podcast. My birthday was February 24th and hers was the 26th. So of course we had to do something. So I received her box, I want to say last Friday, last week. And it was so much fun. She did a, what did she call it? A magic yarn ball, where she wound a skein of yarn around all like these little goodies and stuff. So there was like tea in there. There was a light up fidget spinner, which when I took the ball out of the package, I hit the button that made it light up. So not only did I have this awesome ball of yarn with goodies sticking out of it, but it was also flashing colors. So that was freaking awesome. I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. So she also told me that she was gonna give me a lot of like sewing things because, and quote, I am never using that evil machine again. I pulled out a couple goodies from the box that I wanted to show. She sent me This was on the very inside of the yarn ball. This is her colorway, her hand-dyed yarn in the candy corn colorway, which is two of my favorite colors and one of my favorite candies. So this was in the inside of the magic yarn ball, and this is the yarn that she used to create the magic yarn ball. And she said this is a Hobby Lobby anti-pill acrylic. So I love, like, look, it looks hand-dyed. Love it. So I'm thinking about maybe getting another one of those from Hobby Lobby so that I have two balls, and which would be enough to like make a thing. And this was one of my favorite things that came in the package. It's a pen. Isn't it so cute? Look at its little face. Oh. It reminds me of the Fraggles from Fraggle Rock. Dance your cares away. Worries for another day. Let the music play. Down to Fraggle Rock. So this is my Fraggle pen. I don't care if it's not actually a Fraggle. It's a Fraggle to me. And I want it to be like my co-host. Yay! So yeah. So I got my Fraggle pen, and I also got a crochet hook. These are yarn, like hanks of yarn. We've got some clay stars. And granny squares. Like, guys, can you even? I cannot even. I can only odd. Look at them. And then there's this one. Isn't that so cool? Like, I thought I was fancy when I made a clay covered crochet hook. She's making granny squares, y'all. Straight up granny squares. So now I need to crochet something with granny squares on it so that I can use these as like stitch markers and progress keepers. I'm probably gonna put one of these on my my cardigan. One of these might go on the hat. I don't know, but they're about to be everywhere. But I just wanted to keep them all together so that I could show them. The last two things that I want to show are this sign that she made, which is so appropriate, and this calendar. Yay! Let's see if today is a thing. What's today? The 20th? Oh, that's fun. Today is the first day of spring. Happy spring, y'all. So that's gonna be fun. I'm gonna keep it like around where I can see it so that I can know if it's like a quirky holiday day. And it says quirky on it. So yes, those are the highlights from my swap stash positions. And I have one more gift. My best friend sent me a package in the mail, and it got here yesterday, and this is what she sent me. She sent me a bracelet with Delaware on it, which is the first state. It's so fancy, and it says Delaware and the year. And I did not know that the state bug of Delaware is the 7-spotted ladybug. They had to be so very specific. Does this have 7 spots? No, this ladybug doesn't even have 7 spots on it. I'm gonna have to write them a letter. But yeah, so she gave me this bracelet. Super cute. I love it. Thank you. And it came in this nice little box. I feel like when things come in little boxes like this, they're extra fancy. Is anyone else like that? Because I'm a weirdo. So that is everything. So that's going to take us on to Black Fibers, Black Threads. But that is going to be brought to you by Kalisha from the future. Yes, Kalisha from the future, because Kalisha from the present has to get ready for work. So take it away, Kalisha from the future. Hi friends, it's Kalisha from the future. As you can tell, I am just popping this little insert in to say that in lieu of Black Fibers, Black Threads, this week I'm going to have a special segment for life and whatnot, and we'll go ahead and get that started.
I was doing all that for the show.
You were? Oh, I thought that was just singing for me. You gonna sing? Okay, guys. So
oh boy!
We have a special guest. You can't shake the camera. You're gonna make.
I'm not shaking the camera. I'm shaking the bed, and the bed and the camera's on the bed, and that's.
This is why I can't bring him on the show, y'all.
That's the commutative property.
All right, so
Transitive
what?
property, actually. I'm sorry.
He's a math teacher. This is my husband Lamar. If you've never seen him and you're new, this is the choice I made with my life. This past St. Patrick's Day was our dating anniversary. It's been 8 years since we went on our first date. And do you want to talk a little bit about our first date?
She was late.
I was late.
I was late too.
I was trying to make up my decision, like make up my mind if I was going to go.
So I get to the movie theater. I'm running late. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm late. I get there, and she's nowhere to be found, nowhere to be seen. And, you know.
I mean, eventually I got there, and we watched the movie. We saw Book of Eli.
Great movie.
I think it was a good movie.
Denzel Washington. Really good movie.
We got it from the library the other day, so we're going to watch it again. Anyway, so after the movie... Oh, like we drove around.
We went outside in the parking lot and sat out there in the, by the cars, talked for like almost an hour, and then was like, "All right, I'm hungry."
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
She's like, "All right, let's go get something to eat." So you jump in the car with no plan. This is in Huntsville, Alabama, so it's a small town. It's not like you have all these options late at night because you know, in the South, when it gets
Stuff
late,
closes.
Everything closes. So we drove down to an area where we knew there was food, only to find that most of the places in that area were closed. The one place that was open was a Chinese place, so we walked inside because she said she wanted Chinese.
I did.
And then we got in there, and
I changed
she
my mind.
said, "I don't want Chinese." And so we left. And they were like, "All right, so where do you want to go?" And as we sat there in the car, her trying to figure out where she wanted to go, I just drove around and around and around. And we did donuts in the parking lot of a Baskin Robbins. There's a little burger place over there.
Cheeseburger.
Yeah, they were closed. The Chinese place, which was open. And a little art gallery paint place. Because we did walk past the art gallery thing on the way back to the car. And eventually we decided to go to IHOP.
Yep.
So
we went to IHOP. And we ate.
And she had me rub her feet on the first date.
He rubbed my feet.
I should have known something was wrong. Because she's always asked me to rub her feet now. So I guess, you know, she was just being true to herself. So I can appreciate that.
Yes. We ended up staying at IHOP for so long that, like, I don't know if, like, any of you ladies do this. Like, if ever you, like, go on a date, you always have that conversation with your one girlfriend where you're like, if you don't hear me by such and such a time, you need to call me because I probably got kidnapped. So we were out that long.
Do I look like I can kidnap somebody?
I'm little.
Do I look like I would kidnap somebody? This innocent face.
This adorable face. I'm very kidnappable. Anyway, so we were out so long that my make sure you didn't get kidnapped homegirl called me and was like, are you okay? Did you get kidnapped? Do we need to call the police? Everything was fine.
And then we left IHOP, went back to the movie theater where her car was, because we didn't drive in the same car. We met at the movie theater, obviously. And then we proceeded to sit out the car at the movie theater for another couple hours.
It was a very, very long date.
All this the night before her first day of training at a new job.
Oh, yeah, a new job.
Because part of the way I convinced her to go on this date with me, part of the way I got her to go on this date was because she was going to be starting a new job. We were working at the same school, and she was going to be quitting to go work. She's going to be quitting to go work at this new job. And so, like, hey, well, before you start working this other job, you get really busy, maybe we can go to the movies or something. That was how I asked her. That was actually really natural, and because I don't do that, I'm very awkward in that way, I think. I have been historically. So I think that was a very smooth, suave way of, getting to her.
Yeah. You so smooth,
especially at that,
boo.
I finessed out of her phone number.
Oh, you finessed, boo.
Yeah. Oh, that's the young people say finesse now.
That's what the children is saying. That's what you learn at the high school. Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do some of these husband tag questions.
Apparently.
But it's 35 of them things, and I don't want to do 35 questions. You want to do 35 questions?
I would love to do 35 questions.
We're not doing 35 questions. So, what I figured is we would do a random number generator, 1 to 35, and we'll do like a few that way. Sound good?
Are we answering each question, or like is both of us are we both answering each question, or is it going to be like you answer one, then I answer a different one, you answer a different one, etc.?
I don't know. You want to do like little sip? I take sip, you take sip. Sip.
You like that?
We'll do it like that. Little sip, sip, sip.
Take a sip.
I don't know. We'll see. So,
Kevin Hart.
Right. That was a Kevin Hart reference. Sip, sip, sip. The first question that we're going to answer is question number 11.
All right. Just feel like a random order. It was random.
Aw, what key elements make a successful relationship and marriage?
You first? Me first.
I'll go first. I would say I want to say communication, but I feel like that's like a given. Like, obviously you have to have open lines of communication, like within the relationship, for things to not be assumed. But I think being like candid in that communication is good. So that like whatever you're feeling or whatever you're going through, or, having that honesty in like whenever you're talking about things. Does that make sense? Candid communication. Do you want to answer that one, or you want to generate a new one?
Trust, honesty, sense of humor, a commitment to the relationship itself. Something I've been saying this for a long time now, and I've practiced it in our relationship, and I even teach it to my students, is that as you get to the point of making long, like mature relationship decisions, I teach high school, so I have kids who are 12, 13, and they're talking about relationships. It's kind of like, not to diminish their relationships, but I just kind of try to help them think contextually. Where are they? Like, where are you in your stage of life, so that you don't make your relationship at 13 more than it should be. But when you get to that point where you start wanting to think long-term relationships, so when we start talking marriage or long-term dating relationships or whatever, one of the things that I kind of preach and practice is that you're making a commitment to the relationship, especially when you're talking about marriage. And if you believe marriage is supposed to be a lifelong commitment, then the choice to marry someone is the choice to commit to that commitment, not so much to commit to the person, because the reality is over time the person is going to change. So if you commit to a person 10 years from now, when that person is no longer the same, person that they were when you met them or when you started dating them, then you start to have those conflicts and those problems. But if you make a commitment to the commitment of marriage, you make a commitment to making sure that you fall in love every day all over again, then as that person changes and as you change, then you're able to kind of stick with that. So those moments where you get fed up or frustrated, or when we get annoyed with each other, it's okay, because I'm not comparing her to who she was when I met her. And hopefully she's not doing that to me. So I think that is a key element of making a successful relationship, specifically a successful marriage.
Well, that was very eloquent.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, number 34. Ooh.
I get to go first on this one, I think.
Okay. The question is, who was the one to say I love you first, and where was it?
It was me. I don't remember where it was. Probably my apartment. I don't know, but I know it was me. I know that for sure.
I don't think that I can say anything else on there.
She was like,
I take a long time to love, but when I love hard.
I did say that.
You did say that.
That's a direct quote.
And you meant it.
It's very true.
Yeah, I remember when you told me you were starting to love me and fell in love with me and everything. It was in the car on the way back from your grandma's house.
I remember that. Number 3.
Well, we already did this one.
Okay, number 3 is how and where was our first date. So y'all just got that story. So number 7. Aw, when and why did you fall in love with me? I have to go first? Because
I went first last time.
Okay. Well, just like you said, I take a long time to fall in love. So I can't really pinpoint. Let me think about that. I can't really pinpoint like the exact time that I was just like, you know what? I love him. But I think it was something like after we had broken up and we were still hanging around each other and I didn't want you to go away.
Yeah, so she broke up with me, right? Well, all right. I kind of gave her this ultimatum because of some things, the way I felt things were going and some stuff I didn't like. And not an ultimatum like, it's me, or it wasn't like that. But it was one of those things where like there's certain things that I just felt like I couldn't deal with and I didn't want to deal with. And I didn't think it was unfair for me to want what I wanted. And so I pretty much gave it, just like, I think you have to decide, like, do you want this or do you want to just break up and not confine yourself to what I'm, what I need or what I'm asking you to, at least at this time. And, it sounded like it was a hard decision, but she was like, I think we're going to break up. So we broke up. And then like 15 minutes later, she came over. But after that, we gave each other space, which I think is what we needed, because our relationship was still relatively early and we were spending a lot of time together. And sometimes I think you can overdo it. When you have a good thing, sometimes if you overdo a good thing, you can kind of take it for granted and miss out. So she needed that space to continue still being an individual, and I needed the space to not be in that relationship. I don't know if that makes sense. Both of us had gotten out of previous relationships within a few months of when we first started dating. So I think because everything went so well so quickly, very early on we started spending a lot of time together, like all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's what that breakup really needed, or it was about. It was for us to have that time to spend just being individuals again. And even though we were broken up, we still hung out. We went to the movies. We just hung out. But it was probably a more healthy kind of hanging out and spending time together within I guess within a reasonable amount of time. And before long, I remember she called me and she was like, I don't want to not be with you. I don't want to not be around you, or something like that.
Can you not make my voice sound like that? Like, I sound like such a whiny person in your stories.
I can't remember exact words, but basically, I don't want to have that time apart from each other. It's kind of along those lines. Maybe not the sing-songiness or whatever, but pretty much that was that. And we didn't officially get back together, but we were back together for all intents and purposes. Yeah.
When and why did you fall in love with me?
I loved you the first time I saw you. Boo.
Oh, did you really?
I can't say I loved you, but I was like, word. That's one of the questions. Let's do that random generation to that question. Oh, question number 1. Okay. Question number 1. I randomly generated that question for myself. Is how and where did we meet? Well, I was a middle school math teacher at the Academy for Science and Foreign Language in Huntsville, Alabama. And Kalisha was teaching the extended day class. She was like the 3rd extended day teacher they'd had there since I started working there. Every year, it was a K through 8 school.
Just in case they don't have extended day where you are, it's like after school care.
After school care, right.
Carry on.
It became a habit to me to always go into the after school program and talk to the kids, meet whoever the extended day teacher program, extended day program's teacher was, and speak to them and just be polite and say, be cordial. And every once in a while help kids with their homework, that kind of thing. So literally every year, the person changed. And so in this particular year, I was coming out of the cafeteria, like after my afternoon duty, and I'm walking down the main hallway coming from the main office going back towards my room in the back of the school. And I see this tall thing with her head wrap on, just look at how she was looking. Now, mind you, I was in a relationship at the time. I had a girlfriend, and I'm a faithful person. I would never stepped out on her or anything like that, but it doesn't mean I didn't notice somebody else. And so that was it. Like, I noticed her. I was like, man, and that was that. A friend of ours, actually a mutual friend of ours, was doing her internship at the school. And so I would give her rides to and from the college back to the campus since, I was coming to work there. And I mentioned that I saw her, like, again, in passing. And she's like, oh, you don't know Kalisha? I was like, no. Yeah, that's the poetry girl from Oakwood. Now, I didn't know we went to the same college. She had just graduated from the college. We actually overlapped. Our time at the school overlapped by like a year. But my last year, I was doing my student teaching, and I was off campus a lot. And then I moved off campus the second semester to my own apartment. So I never really interacted with her. She would have been a freshman. I would have been a senior. It was kind of one of those, like, we might have been at the school, and I probably did see her. But, they say about people, until you meet them, they're just part of the scenery. So I probably saw her and just didn't notice her on campus just because,
I was part of the scenery.
That's where we met. That's how we met. And I slowly kind of just got to know her. And then I had a really bad breakup. Really, really, really bad breakup. We won't go into that story. And one day I told her.
He told me all his business.
I did.
And as you guys can see, he's quite the talker between us. And really, when you say, like, how and where did we first meet? I would say that we first met, like, became apparent to each other, became not a part of the scenery. This, whatever the one day was, I had the kids in the gym, and he just, like, walked up and just started telling me all his business. Like, it was sitting on his chest, and he just needed somebody to talk to, and I just happened to be that somebody. He just overflowed and told me everything that was going on. And
way too much. Way too much. But see, all right. Now she says that's when we first met. That's not really true. That's because I would not have told her all that much if we had not had conversations. We had already had conversations.
I said that was like when we first became like apparent to each other. Like you became somebody that like mattered.
You were apparent enough to me for me to be comfortable enough to do that. because I didn't tell any and everybody all my business.
Right. But
So we'd had many a conversation just in passing. We'd spoken. We were cordial. We knew each other. I don't think
we weren't friends.
we weren't friends, but
That was a conversation you would have with a friend.
yes, you're
Okay.
right. Again, that was way too much. I'm not. It was way too. It was way too much for even later. Like it was way
Yeah, it
too
was.
much. But it was one of those things where I just needed to vent and get everything out. And then she was very, very kind in that afterwards I went back to my classroom, and as she's walking the kids back to the cafeteria, she stops by my room, sticks her head in, just slips me this note, which I kept for a long time until my wallet got stolen. And basically it said, I understand, and I just wanted you to have this prayer to go through.
You're gonna make me cry. I got a little tears
And
now. Aw.
so, well, that's Tiffany. We have a friend coming over for paint night, and that's probably her because the dogs are barking. Well, she wrote me this note, and I kept it for a long time, not knowing what was going to happen with us, not knowing that we were going to end up being together or anything. It just was really meaningful, and it was the kind of thing that let me know she's the kind of person that you want to keep in your life. And the prayer said, it's a prayer for serenity, peace, clarity of mind, strength, courage, love, open ears, an open heart, wisdom, patience, and trust. And it said a little bit more than that, but I had it all in this note that she gave me, and I kept it again for a long time. And then later, because my wallet got stolen and I lost it, she ended up doing this for me for one of our anniversaries, where she imprinted the prayer into this tin, and now I keep this in my wallet all the time. But that was what let me know she was the kind of person that I needed to keep in my life. I didn't know how, what context, whatever, but definitely needed to keep her around. Long story short, because I got to go up and answer the door. After that, we kind of went our separate ways, whatever. Christmas break, came back after Christmas break, only to find out that she and her boyfriend had broken up. And now I was like, oh,
Look
okay.
at God.
In the meantime, I got her phone number because when the kids would come to my room for tutoring, I gave her my number so she could text me and let me know to send the kids to the front. And then the first day that she sent me a text message outside of school, I was like, bet. Because now I have permission to text her or call her outside of work. It was no longer a work thing because she texted me first. And that was that. Pause. All right. I'm back.
And I've gotten myself together. Hey, boo. Come sit down and be quiet. All right, so we want to do 2 more questions. Okay, generate number 28. If you baked me a cake, what kind would I like?
If I baked you a cake, I would bake you a chocolate cake. Or I would bake you a cheesecake like I've done.
You baked me a cheesecake for my birthday, and it was delicious. And I ate it out of the pan with a fork. No shame.
And I don't even like cheesecake for real, but I ate some too. It was pretty good. I did a good job.
Yes, you did.
But she also likes coconut cake that her grandma makes.
But only that my grandma makes.
And I don't like coconut, so I'm not making her a coconut cake to even make her try mine. So we're good.
If I made you a cake, it would be like just a regular vanilla cake with fancy stuff on the front. Yes. Like the magic cake I made.
Is that chocolate cake?
I don't know.
I think it's chocolate cake.
Was it chocolate?
I think so.
I made him this cake for his birthday.
It's fancy.
I don't remember what kind of cake it was. All I remember was the fondant that I did on the front, like on the front, over the top of the cake, because it was a Pinterest win.
Or she do like we did for our wedding. She made me, for my groom's cake, they made me a donut cake, a Krispy Kreme donuts.
Yes.
It was delicious.
All right, last question. How long have we been together? Question number 8.
First date was 8 years
Aw,
ago last
look
Saturday.
at that. Question number 8. 8 years ago since our first date? Huh? Coming up on our 4th anniversary.
In June.
This June, we will have been married for 4 years.
Anyway.
All right, guys. Before we get dragged down memory lane or attacked by a tootie, we are going to go ahead and say goodbye.
Thank you for spending time with us here on the Quirky Monday Craftcast. We're glad to have had you join and spend in our lives with us. Please tune in again next time for more quirky crafting and
shenanigans.
Okay,
and with that said, leave a comment down below of something great that happened to you this week, so that we can all share in that joy.
She coerced me into doing this because I'm on spring break, and she said, you don't got nothing else to do. Not really, but
guys, bye-bye.
This is the choice she made with her life.